Everyone, welcome to today's economics class where I'll be taking you on the topic economic growth and development. My name is Folakemi Adongbede and I'll be your tutor for today's session. Let's start. At the end of this session, students should be able to give a proper definition of economic growth and development, understand the difference between economic growth and development, know the measures of economic growth and development, understand the determinants of economic growth and development, know the barriers to economic growth and development, and be able to attempt practice questions. Economic growth is a steady process by which the productive capacity of the economy is increased over time to bring about rising levels of national output and income. Economic growth is a long-run process. It shows higher rate of increase in real per capita income than rate of growth of population. It is always linked with a large increase in productive ability of the economy. It relates to a fair distribution of income and wealth. It is attached with the reduction in poverty and unemployment. How can we measure economic growth? Economic growth in a country is measured by the country's gross domestic product, which is the GDP annually. GDP is the total amount of final goods and services produced annually within the country. There are four factors that determine the country's GDP for the year: natural resources, human capital, capital goods, and entrepreneurship. Now, what are the determinants of economic growth? Resource endowment, productivity levels of the economy, macroeconomic stability, good governance, political stability, growth of opportunities for entrepreneurs, trained labor force, and development of infrastructures. Now we're going to look at the factors promoting and limiting economic growth. First, we'll look at the factors that promote economic growth: investments, savings, lower ICOR productivity of capital, technology, education and training, entrepreneurship, research and development, macroeconomic stability, and good governance. Next, we look at the limits to economic growth. What are those things that make us have a stunted economic growth? Lack of capital formation, lack of savings, rapid population growth compared to the growth in output, low labor productivity, inadequacy of infrastructure facilities, inefficiencies in the public sector, macroeconomic instability, ethical issues and political instability, cultural barriers, unskilled labor, and imperfect labor market. Now we'll be talking about economic development. Economic development is the process of upgrading the quality of all human lives. It is the qualitative and quantitative changes in the economy. It sees the promoting of the standard of living and economic health of the country. In measuring economic development, we mostly make use of the Human Development Index, which considers the literacy rate and life expectancy. Modernization and industrialization plays an important role for economic development of a nation. Now, what are the requirements for economic development? First, we need to reduce income disparity, reduce poverty and unemployment, fulfill our basic needs, change the economic structure of the country, good governance, balanced regional development, sustainable development, and self-sufficiency. Now, these are the factors and indices used in measuring economic development. First is economic growth, that is real GDP, GNP growth rate, annual growth rates of per capita real GDP, GNP, purchasing power parity GDP, employment and unemployment, employment ratio, labor force participation rate, and unemployment rate, income distribution, the Lorenz curve and the Gini coefficient to measure relative income distribution and absolute income distribution, political stability, that is the inflation rate, the surplus or deficit of BOP, changes in exchange rates. Now, social factors. We'll look at health, life expectancy at birth, infant mortality rate, maternal mortality rate, underweight childbirth below 5 years, nutrition, the average daily calorie consumption and malnutrition, education, literacy rate, dropout rate, educational level of labor force, educational level of women teacher-pupil ratio, standard of living, that is the physical quality life index, the human development index, the human poverty index, millennium development goals, and sustainable development. Remember, development alleviates people from low standard of living into proper employment with suitable shelter. Economic growth does not consider the depletion of natural resources, which might lead to pollution, congestion, and diseases. Development, however, is concerned with sustainability, which means meeting the needs of the present without compromising the future needs. These environmental effects are becoming more of a problem for government now that the pressure has increased on them due to global warming. Economic growth is a necessary but not sufficient condition of economic development. Now I have a question for you as always. What is the difference between economic growth and development? Remember, all answers and inquiries should be sent to jimosmith@edufirst.ng. Thank you.